You're listening to On Air with Jezza, and I'm, as always, Jeremy Spake. Great to be with you, and apologies that we weren't with you last week. There were a couple of causes of that. The first being that we had some computer issues. We've had an upgrade to all of our hardware in the studio, so a couple of the computers were giving us jip, which meant that we were unable to produce the show last week as planned. And of course, I was out doing my 80k walk or hike, or in military terms, yomp, on behalf of Royal British Legion Industries, trying to raise much needed funds for their efforts on behalf of our veterans. And I've had an amazing week walking along the beaches, through the forests, and doing all sorts of other weird and wonderful things. The hound joined me for a little bit of it, Gorby the mush dog, but I'll talk more about that later in the show. We've got loads of really great music, of course, as you'd expect, most of it chosen by your good selves. The first track, however, was requested by Colin and Pam, who I met as I was walking along one of the beaches in northeast Essex, taking part in my 80k challenge, and they said, we should be putting on fireworks, because I had literally just completed my 80th K, and they were there to help me celebrate, which was great fun. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll put on a tune especially to mark the occasion in this week's podcast. So here it is, Colin and Pam, it's Firework by Katy Perry.
Plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again. Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you ever feel already buried deep, 6 feet under screens, but no one seems to hear a thing? Do you know that there's still a chance for you, 'cause there's a spark in you? You just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just own the night like the 4th of July. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em what you're worth. Make 'em go as you shoot across the sky. Your original cannot be replaced. If you only knew what the future holds, after a hurricane comes a rainbow. Maybe a reason why all the doors are closed, so you could open one that leads you to the perfect road. Like a lightning bolt, your heart will glow, and when it's time, you know you just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just own the night like the 4th of July. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em what you're worth. Make 'em go as you shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework.
Katy Perry and Firework, what a tune to celebrate the successful completion of my 80k challenge. But I'm still walking, folks, more about that in a bit. We have, of course, got my usual soapbox feature. We'll be talking about what's been happening around the world, as well as what I've been watching on the Gogglebox, and loads of great sounds like this one, especially for Jeff. I do love that tune, you know. It's Garden by Narco and Medicine for the People, played especially for Jeff Lodge. Thanks for requesting that, Jeff. I'm going to let you into a little secret. That track has been on my playlist this week as I've been completing my 80k on behalf of Royal British Legion Industries, which is a charity that helps today's veterans, both old and young, and their families with employment, housing and general support, particularly around their mental well-being, which is absolutely brilliant. And that's why I participated in the 80k challenge. I'll be talking more about that later on. But of course, it was all about paying our respects to the veterans who 80 years ago participated in the D-Day landings in Normandy on the 6th of June 1944. And this week's news has been very much dominated, and rightly so, by the events that have taken place during the week to mark the 80th anniversary. And I, for one, have tried to see as much of it as I possibly could, because I truly believe we should pay our respects to the brave men and women, both alive and sadly no longer with us, who participated in such a monumental event in a bid to rid the world of Nazi tyranny. And it was very, very moving on a number of occasions. In fact, I found myself with a tear or two in my eye, and I was having to almost hide the fact that I was feeling as emotional as I was, because I'm one of these sort of people, wears his heart on his sleeve, loves helping people. So for me, seeing the remarkable people who 80 years ago were brave enough to put themselves in the line of fire to help those that weren't brave or couldn't was just truly remarkable. One or two of them really stood out for me. I don't know if you saw any of the output from the BBC and the various news channels, but there was 2 days of really, really good detailed coverage telling the stories of the people who are still here and can tell us what it was like to be on the landing crafts, to be on the beaches, and to be in the ships as they approached Normandy. And of course, on the 5th of June, Dame Helen Mirren, fantastic actor, she really is, she was hosting the event that took place down in Portsmouth, just down there on the Hard, looking out across the sea towards the Isle of Wight. And they put on a really good show. It was a kind of a mix of music, memories, and sort of tiny little montages of events that had been extrapolated from the data that they'd got on file. And it was just a really enjoyable show. And it was particularly nice to see the veterans sat there taking it all in, because they really are remarkable people. I think what really struck me about watching them and listening to what they had to say was the fact that every single one of them, regardless of how they felt generally about the situation, the one thing that they all wanted was that we would never ever forget, because they didn't want anybody to ever have to face what they faced 80 years ago. And I think that's a massive tribute to them. It's just very sad that the world hasn't learned that the only way to deal with disagreement is to sit down and discuss it, and to find a way to settle your differences without the need for aggression and violence. And if ever you needed somebody to explain that to you, it's those wonderful, wonderful veterans. The youngest of which I think was 98. The oldest was well over 100. And one of them in particular really brought a tear to my eye, and it was Christian Lamb. I don't know if you saw, she was a Wren based in Whitehall. She'd been basically plotting the convoys going across the Atlantic, and an admiral saw the kind of work she was doing, how dedicated and meticulous she was in her endeavours. The professional level of her work was so high that he took her out of the normal duties of plotting the convoys and asked her to sit in a really tiny room, as I remember, probably without windows, because it was in the basement of the cabinet war rooms, so it was unlikely to have had windows. But she was asked to sit down and actually produce the maps for the D-Day landings. Now, when she was asked to do this, she was one of a very, very small handful of people who knew the locations of where the D-Day landings were going to take place, and she was sworn to complete secrecy. And she did a remarkable job. She produced the maps that would be used by not only the landing craft but also the various vessels, 7,000 of which crossed the English Channel between the 5th and the 6th of June to deliver over 130,000 personnel to the beaches. And listening to her story, she kind of said, I wasn't really sure if my maps are of any use or whether they saved anybody. And it was particularly touching because the BBC journalist who was interviewing her basically said, trust me, your maps absolutely helped save people's lives. And what I particularly liked was the President of France, Mr. Macron. He gave a tribute to the lady, Mrs. Lamb, there in Normandy, and presented her with France's highest award. And the words he used were absolutely spot on. And, regardless of what anybody thinks about Emmanuel Macron, you have to give it to him. He was very humble. He was very thankful on behalf of the French. And I was very moved by the whole event on the 6th that took place at the Normandy Memorial for the British. Of course, the memorial itself got put there as the direct result 10 years ago of a veteran saying to Nicholas Witchell, the former BBC royal correspondent, the veteran basically said to Nicholas Witchell, I don't understand why other allies have got their memorials here in Normandy, but the British don't. We really ought to have one. And 10 years later, there we are. There is now a permanent memorial very close to Gold Beach on the Normandy coast, and it just is a beautiful place. And seeing the veterans back there looking out across the sea, across the silhouettes of the standing giants, all 1,475 of them, that were of course silhouettes to represent each of the lives lost under British command on the 6th of June. It was just all very, very moving and very, very emotional, without a shadow of a doubt. And I, for one, am enormously grateful to the men and women who took part in that particular event. My grandfather was actually in South Africa with the Royal Naval Air Service, so he managed to avoid that particular event by being in South Africa training people for the Royal Naval Air Service. But yeah, it was just remarkable to watch the wonderful, wonderful people. And we'll talk some more about what's been going on in the news a little bit later in the show, because I wanted this bit of our programme to be dedicated to the men and women of 1944.
We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
wonderful voice of Dame Vera Lynn with We'll Meet Again, played especially for our veterans. We salute you. Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Isn't that a marvellous track? Yes, indeedy. That is Nina Simone with Cinnamon, played especially for Vera Chung. Vera, your husband, got in touch to say just how much he loves you and how grateful he is for everything you do for him, especially at the moment as he's not in a particularly good place. So well done you, Vera, and hopefully you enjoyed that track as much as I did, and everybody else was probably tapping along to it. I certainly was. I was bopping along. Now, if, like Vera's husband, you'd like a tune played especially for a loved one or something dedicated to a friend, or maybe you'd like to be a little bit self-indulgent, that's okay. Self-indulgence every so often is definitely allowed. Not all the time though, folks, because we're not keen on selfish folk, because that's what causes all the problems around the world, a bit of selfishness. But hey ho, you know what to do. Fill in that handy form on the website jeremyspake.com in the contacts page, which you'll see is known as the Ops Control Centre. It's the old airline man in me, can't help myself, you know. And if doing the whole filling in the form's not your thing and you prefer to send us an email, you can do so by sending it to shows@jeremyspake.com. Remember to tell us which track you'd like, why you'd like it, and who it's for, and we'll do our very best to dig it out and pop it into a future show. Love playing your music. Your choices so far have been absolutely brilliant over the past 10 weeks or so. It's been absolutely fabulous to see the sort of music that you like, and so far you've all been hitting my buttons because I've enjoyed almost every single one of them, which is superb. There will of course be a time where someone will request something and I'll be going, really? Are you sure about that? But I'll still pop it in because this is your music, not mine. Although occasionally I am a little bit self-indulgent, but as I say, from time to time that is allowed. Now, what have you been watching this week, folks? Have you managed to find any time to put those feet up and chillax a little bit? Well, I did manage to find a few hours because I'm now getting into the habit of making time for myself to sit down and just unwind from all the daily chores and the kind of looking after my mum and all the other things that go with everyday life that we all experience. So this week I had dedicated a little bit of time to watching Netflix's new series with the Benedict Cumberbatch called Eric. Now, have you seen it? Have you seen it? What did you think? You know what to do. Let me know to shows@jeremyspake.com. I really enjoyed it in a kind of way I didn't think I would, because it started off really, really strong, because anything that Benedict Cumberbatch does generally is really good quality. He's an extremely competent and capable actor. He's very diverse in the type of roles that he takes on. And this is definitely far out there for Benedict. It's unusual to see him in a role that's quite so downbeaten and sort of trodden on and all the rest of it. So it tells the story basically of a puppeteer who produces a program in New York with his colleagues, and he's not a great dad. He's a little bit sort of self-obsessed. We were talking about that just a second ago, weren't we? And he's absolutely creative, so he struggles to kind of listen to other people and what have you not. So because he's so self-obsessed, he's often in conflict with folk, and one particular night, as you'll see in the series if you haven't watched it yet, he starts having a fight with his wife, and his young son ends up running away from home because he can't take any more. He's fed up of the hot and cold moods of his dad, which Benedict plays really, really well. The character is known as Vincent. And basically, over the next sort of 6 episodes, the story unfolds, and it's really a crime drama. It kind of has one or two stories that intertwine together, based around the main character of Vincent, played by Benedict. And as you see, if you haven't seen it, the story unfolds, and there's basically been people disappearing in New York. There's a really fantastic policeman played by McKinley Belcher III. What a name, McKinley Belcher III. He plays the detective assigned to look after the hunt for Vincent's son. And he also has a suspicion that maybe the police have been involved in some of the disappearances of other children. And one of the children that has gone missing is a black child, and his mother basically says that because he's black, nobody's bothered, and the story unfolds in such a way that you get to see what's really been going on. And although Benedict's probably the main character that you see and would know, because the lineup has got a lot of US actors in it, which you'd expect. Gabby Hoffman plays a character called Cassie Anderson, which is Vincent's wife. Then you've got David Denman's in there. Edgar Anderson, the son of Vincent, is played by Ivan Howe. Plays a really good role, does it very well. But the story itself kind of moves along and you're intrigued by it. You think, okay, so this is a crime story. But then suddenly this puppet character appears, which has been kind of something that Vincent's son has been trying to encourage his dad to include in his puppet show, which is starting to fail. The ratings are starting to slip. And Vincent's son thinks that this particular character will really help boost the ratings again. And his dad's a little bit dismissive of him, which is one of the other reasons why he kind of decides to run away. But suddenly this character, this puppet that Vincent's son has kind of dreamt up and drawn on paper and shown his dad, materializes, and Vincent spends a lot of his time talking to this puppet as he's walking along. And it's just at that point I started to think, oh no, this is going to go south. I'm not going to enjoy this, because he's talking to himself, which we all do. Everybody talks to themselves, don't they? But now suddenly he's talking to this ginormous puppet, which clearly nobody else can see except him. And I kind of thought it was going to spoil it, but it doesn't. I don't think it does. I was quite surprised. I surprised myself, because I'm a great one for reality. And but watching this, I started to think, okay, this works. And in fairness, it really does. It's worth bearing through if you're like me and kind of struggle a bit with some of the fantasy stuff. But it goes way beyond fantasy, because it is definitely a crime drama worth a watch. So you'll find it on Netflix. It's called Eric. And as I say, Benedict Cumberbatch is in there with a host of others. Definitely worth giving it a try. And let me know what you thought when you've seen it, because it's one of those you sort of think, oh, okay. But I really enjoyed it in the end. I also managed to make a bit of time, because this has been the 80th anniversary week of the D-Day landing, so it had to be done. I had to watch The Longest Day. Yes, have you ever seen that film? It's a long one. It's almost 3 hours. Made in 1962. It has an absolutely stellar cast in it. You can't imagine the number of people in there who are obviously famous. The likes of John Wayne, Henry Fonda, Robert Mitchum, Richard Todd, Sean Connery's in there. The list just goes on and on and on. There are some remarkable performances in there. It tells the story almost meticulously of the planning and the execution of the D-Day landings from both the Allies and the Germans' perspective. All of the language is native, so the Germans are speaking in German, the French are speaking in French, etc, etc, etc. It is absolutely worth a watch. It's all in black and white, because some original footage that was shot in 1944 is intercut with the rest of the film. Really great film to watch. The only sort of fly in the ointment for me personally is John Wayne was a character that played lots and lots of heroes in films, and yet he was a conscientious objector. So he was one of those that, for reasons known only to him, he didn't wish to participate in the Second World War. And we should all have choices, without a shadow of a doubt. But the bit I struggle with, no objections to him not necessarily wanting to fight, because I'm somebody who doesn't agree with aggression and violence. The bit I object to is, why would you, if you've been a conscientious objector, then play all of these military heroes? There's something just not right about that. Do you think?
I try to discover a little something to make me sweeter. Oh baby, refrain from breaking my heart. I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. That you give me no reason
Great choice there by Mel and Gareth. Was, of course, A Little Respect by Erasure. And I sincerely hope that you really enjoyed that, Mel and Gareth. We did here in the studio. I was certainly bopping along. I bop along to a lot of our songs, in fairness. Your choices, as I said earlier, are normally really stonking. So thank you very much for that. Now, talking about respect, my week this week has been all about respecting others. I'm somebody that spends a lot of his time trying to help others and encouraging people to do their very best by each other. And this week has been all about my 80k challenge. Regular listeners will know that back in May, I accepted on behalf of the team the challenge to complete an 80k challenge on behalf of Royal British Legion Industries, which is a fabulous charity based in Kent that looks after veterans young and old and their families by providing housing, employment. It also has some mental health support programs, and more importantly to me personally, it helps provide dementia care to veterans. Now, my dad was a veteran. He also had dementia. Although he never called upon the services of Royal British Legion Industries, I know that he would have done if he'd needed to. Sadly, he's no longer with us. But it gave me enough of an incentive to get myself out of my chair, lift my derriere and do some walking, which was much overdue because since COVID, I've become a little bit sort of lazy really in the physical effort department. So I liked the idea of being able to spend a month basically walking, cycling, crawling, swimming. Some people were horse riding, 80k in a bid to raise much needed funds for the charity. That said, I decided that I wanted to complete the 80k by the 6th of June, because the 6th of June 1944, 80 years ago, was of course the day upon which the veterans of today were landing on the beaches 80 years ago to liberate us from the Nazi tyranny. And it just felt the right thing to do, because how else do you pay your respect to the remarkable men and women who are still alive, and more importantly the ones who are no longer here. So 80k seemed like to me a very small sacrifice to pay, but I wanted to get it done, as I say, in the quickest possible time. So I set myself the target of completing 80k in 6 days, but by day 4 I'd gotten so into it. I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Latest getting out of bed was 3:30. I was on the beach and cracking along, or in the fields, or walking through the forest by 4 o'clock at the latest. And I was covering 12, 13, 14 miles a day just because I was really into the zone. And I got to day 4 and I was walking along the beach at Walton on the Naze in Essex, and I bumped into a couple of people. I played a tune for them earlier, Colin and Pam, and they said, "Oh blimey, you're up early, what are you up to?" And I said to them, "Well, I'm doing this 80k challenge. In fact, you'll be pleased to know I've literally just gone over the 80k in 4 days," and I was feeling pretty elated, and I still do, in fairness, because we've been doing it to raise funds. I say I've been doing it, but there's been a whole crowd of people across the country, to my reckoning just shy of about 5,000 people, have all been walking, cycling, running, doing remarkable things. We've got veterans in there participating, and it's been great to watch everybody getting on with their challenges. And I'm continuing. I haven't given up yet. I'm just going to keep walking and walking and walking. And at the moment, I'm just going to have a quick peep at the website to see how far I've managed to get, because I've been keeping, or the team have been keeping, a track on my behalf of how well I've been doing. And if I go to the 80k page on my website, I can see there that I've actually managed to walk 126.38 kilometers to this particular point. And I'm really pleased with that, because it's only been 8 days since the sort of the challenge started, and there I am managing to walk that distance. And I should be doing some more a little bit later on, which will click me into day 9 of my walking, because obviously we are now on day 9 of the month, and so therefore I will be very, very pleased to continue trying to raise much needed funds. I'm a little bit shy of my target. My target I'd set was to raise £1 for every person that that sadly lost their lives on the beaches under British command on the 6th of June. So that was a target of £1,475, and I'm £300 shy of that at the moment. But I'm going to get there. I'm just going to keep walking and harassing people and say to them, please donate. This is a really worthy cause, and I know how tough it has been for everybody. There's no two ways about it. People are really struggling financially, and as the supermarket does say, every little helps. It really does. And as I kept saying to a lot of my friends via Facebook, I kept saying to them, I only need you to give £1 and we'll be well and truly past our target. We'll bust through it. But times are really hard. And of course, the thing with charity is that, it needs to be personal to you for a lot of folk. I support 29 charities directly as either patron, ambassador or general sort of helper and Dog's Body. I love helping charities. I've got one or two that are particularly dear to me for lots of different reasons. But this is the first time I've done something for Royal British Legion Industries, and I'm enormously proud to have participated, because paying respect to people who are prepared to sacrifice themselves so that we might be able to continue living freely and expressing ourselves freely is just something that we should never ever shy away from. We should be prepared to pay our respects and do our very best by those people, because I'm not entirely sure if we were to experience events like World War II again, whether or not we'd really be able to cope. I don't know myself if I would manage to step up to the plate and do the job. I guess I'd only find out if I was put into that situation, but it doesn't detract from the fact that I still struggle to comprehend the events of World War II. So this little effort on my behalf, on my part, I should say, on behalf of the veterans is really small price to pay. So if you do want to donate and you want to carry on encouraging me to the 30th of June to keep on walking, all you need to do is visit jeremyspake.com. You'll find the 80k link there on the front page, and then you can sort of watch a video of me on day 4 achieving the 80k challenge, and also keep a track of how far I've managed to walk thus far. Have a look daily just to see whether or not I'm still clocking up the miles, because it's important, because it's good for me as well. It's great for my mental health, without a shadow of doubt. Now, talking about respect, one of the things that's been in the news obviously since D-Day was the fact that Rishi Sunak decided that he needed to get back to London prematurely before attending the international event in the afternoon in Normandy on the 6th of June this year. And a lot of people are kind of like, what was that about? And I have to say, a very, very badly judged decision, without any shadow of a doubt, because regardless of what motivated Rishi to leave, it wasn't pressing enough that it required the Prime Minister to give up his duty to the nation. And I've got opinions about all of the people who are currently standing for election next month, and I'm not impressed by any of them, if I'm absolutely honest. But the Prime Minister absolutely should have stayed, in my humble opinion, in Normandy and participated in those events. Back to back music now.
realized there was no disguise. You knew where I stood from the start. So stop, look around you. You're right back where I found you. Take back your cold and empty heart. Oh, cry out. You took a whole lot of loving for a handful of nothing. Oh, cry out. It's hard to give you something when you're pushing and shoving. Oh, cry out. You took a whole lot of loving. Oh, cry out. It's hard to give you something when you're pushing and shoving me around. You go your way, go your way. I don't mind. I won't stay around here. Don't you waste my time. You took a whole lot of loving for a handful of nothing. Oh, cry out. It's hard to give you something when you're pushing and shoving. Oh, cry out. You took a whole lot of loving. Oh, cry out. It's hard to give you something when you're pushing and shoving me around. You took a whole lot of loving for a handful of nothing. Oh, cry out. You took a whole lot of loving. You took a whole lot of loving for a handful of nothing.
I was in the darkness waiting to be found. My heart was locked away and beaten to the ground. I tried to find my way but there was no way out. But when you're close to me, whenever you're around, you take the pain away, you make it worth the wait. And I pray that I will have you in my life always. And when my hope was gone, you made me keep the faith. I guess what I'm trying to say, baby, you got me falling uncontrollably in love. Never felt this way, got my heart, my soul, but baby, that just isn't enough. Hey, I wanna give you my name, my name, my name. Hey, I wanna give you my name, my name, my name. I wanna give you my everything, you know that I possess. Cause you deserve to be all for nothing less. You know I'm there for you like you've been there for me. But whenever I'm without you, girl, I find it hard to breathe. You take the pain away, you make it worth the wait. I was broken but you came along and mended me. Now that my hopes restored and I can keep the faith, all I gotta say is, baby, you got me falling uncontrollably in love. Never felt this way, got my heart, my soul, but baby, that just isn't enough. Hey, I
tracks there, we had McLean with My Name, played especially for Georgie Smith. Thanks for requesting that. Really nice sound, that. First time I've heard it, and I enjoyed it. So thank you very much for that. And the first track we heard was Alison Moyet's All Cried Out, especially for Verity. And I have very fond memories of being in Aberdeen one evening, participating in a Scottish television programme. It's one of these chat shows. And Alison Moyet joined us on the couch, and she was talking about her new album. I was talking about the phenomenon of airport and all things related with aviation, and it was a great night. Alison Moyet is definitely a wonderful person with an enormous talent, and there are rumours abound that she is due to make a big announcement fairly soon, which hopefully is a new album, because she really does have a wonderful voice. So if you are interested in keeping your eye out for Alison's activities, if you pop along to AlisonMoyetMusic.com, I'm sure they'll be making that announcement very, very soon. Let's hope it is an album, because I really do like Alison Moyet. She's somebody who speaks her mind, and I think that's really, really important. Providing we're not offensive to others, we should say what we think. Now, talking about saying what you think, I'm on my soapbox this week, and it's going to be a short one, because this programme has really been about sort of talking about the veterans and the remarkable events of 80 years ago. But when I think about the remarkable events of 80 years ago and why they were doing it for our freedom, and then I look at our politicians of today wanting us to vote for them, I'm just lost, folks. Are you? They are absolutely a ragtag bunch, are they not? Have you seen any of these politicians, particularly the more senior ones, being interviewed by exhausted journalists over the last few weeks, ever since the election was announced, in fact? Well, there was one in particular that really kind of summed it up for me, as people were sort of pitching up to say their little bit, and there'd been all this palaver with Rishi mentioning that Labour were going to make the average family £2,000 poorer, and then there was an immediate kind of statement that suddenly materialised from the Treasury saying, oh, well, those figures were nothing to do with us and all of that. And then they were interviewing the both sides of the argument, and it was like, well, is this true? Isn't it true? Are these basically scurrilous lies? I think Sir Keir Starmer basically said it was garbage, but didn't say a lot more during their head-to-head debate. But what really struck me was the politicians who were sitting on the BBC breakfast couch there talking about this very business of the £2,000. And Jonathan Ashworth, who is the shadow paymaster general, he was basically asked some straightforward questions by the BBC presenter, and like all politicians, he danced around the damn question, kept going on about, well, it's a bit of this and a bit of that, and we're trying to do this, and we've got this pledge, and so they turn these things into manifesto preaches, don't they, rather than answering the goddamn question. So here's the question. I want a straight yes or no. And we saw it again when somebody from Scotland, from the SNP, was being asked during a lunchtime news bulletin, are you going to be able to retain all of the seats that you currently have in Parliament based on your current ratings? The polls had suggested that SNP were going to lose seats, probably because of some of the shenanigans that went on with both the former First Ministers of Scotland and Nicola Sturgeon and all of that malarkey with the funds. But what was really fascinating with it was every time this presenter kept saying, so are you going to lose seats? We basically got a party political broadcast by the SNP member, and I just was getting so damn frustrated by it all, because when you ask a straightforward yes or no question and you expect a yes or a no answer, and these people sing and dance around it, does that not just exhaust you? What's really important here, folks, is that this is a general election that's probably super pivotal to the future of the country, more so than probably any we've had before it, because the country, in my very, very humble opinion, is in an absolute pickle. I don't think it could be in any more of a mess if it tried. And it isn't just down to the Conservatives. It's down to years and years and years and years of neglect and, people just not thinking about what does this country really need? So the reason I'm on my soapbox this week is because politicians, when you're asked a question, for God's sake, answer it. Don't dance around it, because the people of Britain want to hear the truth from you about what you're really going to do. Where are you getting the money from to do these things that you keep promising us you're going to do? And more importantly, let's see your manifesto. We don't need to hear you preaching about it. We want to see it. We want to be able to read it. So get on with it. That's all I can say. Just get on with it and give us a straight answer. Say no more.
I step off the train, I'm walking down your street again, and past your door, but you don't live there anymore. It's years since you've been there, and now you disappeared somewhere, like out of space. You found some better place, and I miss you, like the deserts miss the rain. And I miss you, oh, like the deserts miss the rain. And could you be dead? You always were 2 steps ahead of everyone. You walk behind while you would run. I look up at your house, and I can almost hear you shout down to me, where I always used to be. And I miss you, like the deserts miss the rain. And I miss you, like the deserts miss the rain. I'm back on the train. That's why did I come again? Can I confess, I've been hanging around your old address, and the years have proved to offer nothing since you moved. You're long gone, but I can't move on, and I miss you, like the deserts miss the rain. And I miss you, yeah, like the deserts miss the rain. I step off the train, I'm walking down your street again, past your door. I guess you don't live there anymore. It's years since you've been there, and now you've disappeared somewhere, like out of space. You found some better place, and I miss you, yeah. And I miss you. You found some better place, and I miss you, like the deserts miss the rain. And I miss you, yeah, like the deserts miss the rain. I miss you, and I miss you, like the deserts miss the rain. And I miss you, yeah, like the deserts miss the rain. The deserts miss the rain, like the deserts miss the rain. Like the deserts miss the rain, like the deserts miss the rain. And I miss you.
A very happy 48th birthday to Heather Kramer. Should I have mentioned it was her 48th birthday? I don't know. Tom has asked us to play that for you, your brother, and he says that he hopes you have a truly awesome day. Apparently that's one of your favourite tracks. It was, of course, Missing by Everything But the Girl. Great sound, Tom. Brilliant stuff. Talking about brothers and sisters, have you seen the latest episode of Boarding Now? It's the sister programme to On Air with Jezza. And I actually spent the day in Colchester exploring for the programme and managed to drag my sister along for a part of the day. And you can watch what we got up to by tuning in after this, perhaps. And it's always good to know what you think about the show. So drop us a line to shows@jeremyspake.com and let us know what you thought of today's programme and what you'd like us to be talking about next time we're all together. And keep those requests coming in, because it's really important that we play your music. Now, today, of course, has really been about the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings, and I make absolutely no apologies for paying my respects to the remarkable men and women who participated in those events that have enabled me to sit here and basically express how I feel about so many things. I really do salute you all. Time now for us to play the last tune of the day. It's Golden Brown by the Stranglers. We'll see you next week. You take really good care of yourselves.
Texture like sun lays me down. With my mind she runs throughout the night. No need to fight, never a frown with golden brown. Every time, just like the last, on her ship, tied to the mast. To distant lands, takes both my hands, never a frown with golden brown. Golden brown, fine a temptress. Through the ages she's heading west. From far away, stays for a day. Never a frown with golden brown.
You've been listening to On Air with Jezza, produced by Jeremy Spake Productions. Don't forget, you can now listen to the show every week for free on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, YouTube and Spotify. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you very soon.